Welcome to episode 41. That's what I tried to say earlier. Episode 41 of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate.
You can't see it.
We're good to go now. Okay, cool. We're rolling. We're awful fancy now. We have commercials and everything. All right. So make sure you check out Dismember. I think that link is already posted in the comments. If not, Ethan Watson will hook us up and do that. But yeah, it's super sweet. Those discs are awesome. If you go watch the unboxing video from yesterday, they're great. Check it out. And yeah, we're here. Let's get right into it. Steve, what disc do we have this week?
We've got some more Disc Mania this week. We've got the S-Line P3X, the newest putter from Disc Mania, designed to hold up to a little more headwind or to be able to throw a little harder than your regular D-line, P-line putters. So really nice putt and approach disc.
So with Disc Mania's numbering system, I think I'm right. I might be making this up, but I'm pretty sure the X stands for the bead. Because I think a P1X has a bead, doesn't it? Or am I making that up? Pretty sure the P1X has a bead. So Disc Mania putters that have an X are beaded. So the P, we'll show you the profile here in a minute, but the P3X has a bead. It feels a lot like the AVR 3s, or the AVR X3s, really specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you guys are new to this is great with Steve and Nate. What we do is we take newly released discs, we take them out to a field, throw them a bunch of times, film those throws so we can show them to you and we can tell you how a disc flies so you know if it's right for you or not. So this is episode 41. We've been doing this a while. We've upgraded to commercials and fancy cameras and all sorts of stuff. It's kind of crazy. We've been doing this about a year and it's grown quite a bit. All right, so this week, like we said, is the P3X. Steve, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown on that while I show these off to the camera.
All right. This is what Disc Mania says about the P3X. The P3X is another one of our true workhorse putters similar to a P2, yet we spiced it up a bit. For players that love the P2 but find it too deep to latch onto, the P3X is the one for you. Features a large bead on the bottom, board flat profile, and a slightly smaller interior rim to ensure clean release every time. They're perfect for any windy day on the course, smooth, reliable upshots, big hyzers, or power forehand, backhand throws that will travel on a rope and get you a clean fade so that you can count on. Don't miss out on one of the most awaited releases, and you will not be disappointed. So it's got a speed 3, glide 2, turn 0, and a fade of 3. So it's got some beef to it by the numbers. So the harp is pretty close to that, right?
Yeah, the harp's got pretty similar numbers. That might be a speed 2. I'm not sure if I remember. I think it's speed 3. That is the exact same numbers as a zone. So zones are pretty beefy approach discs. Those are still in my bag. I've had a zone in my bag for like 10 years now, which is longer than I've been playing, so maybe like 8 years. But it's supposed to be a really stable approach disc. You'll find some people who will probably putt with these, but it's going to be more of a throwing putter than it is a putting putter, for sure. But yeah, so it's going to be pretty stable.
Yes.
Other things that you compare it to right off the bat?
Well, it's funny that you say zone because when I'm thinking Discraft, I'm just thinking of those numbers. So finally getting to put that to words, I was really thinking, I was thinking of the harp, but then when you say it's also like the zone, I'm like, oh, okay, then that gives me an idea of how much I'm really going to have to throw this disc because, you know, it is a putter, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to give this thing a couple flings, and we'll see where we go from there, and then we're going to find out how that went.
Yeah, so now that we got the camera back up, let me just give you a little more show here of what exactly it looks like profile-wise.
There you go.
So, see the, oh, if I can flip it the right direction, you can see the, maybe you can see the numbers on there. Lights are too bright.
It's so bright.
But pretty shallow rim. It's not very deep. It's not like the P2 or the Dagger where it's super deep, but it's a little bit there.
Keep going.
But yeah, so I'm excited to throw this disc. the zone is the one thing that could really keep me from going to like single manufacturer. The zone is one of those discs that I have a hard time replacing. Harps just aren't quite as beefy for whatever reason, just not quite the same. But yeah, let's. All right, I think we're ready to hit some of those throw videos, and let's check it out and see what it does. Probably gonna start the same place we do every week.
Same place, same time, same throw. We got Steve Heiser, 265. So this thing can move. Like it really, you see that big fade? You know, you give it enough height, everything's got a chance to go somewhere. So right off the bat, we know already it's not flipping up really hard.
Yeah.
Even with a decent pull on it, but I was aiming for Nate, so we got pretty close to that goal. Let's see if we got another one, but it probably should be a little flatter. A little flatter is true, yes.
A little.
Yeah.
A little.
This one should be right around the same. So
25 feet is not right around the same. That's 25 feet farther, so that's a
all right.
nice little pop. But yeah, like you said, it's not flipping up, it's not turning over on you. Before we go too terribly far, we forgot to mention we do giveaways every week. Usually 3 discs or 2 discs and something. One of those discs will be given away to someone who guesses the farthest backhand distance. And then 2 of them will be given away to people who make good comments, ask good questions, make me laugh, things like that. So be commenting, sharing the video, letting your friends know that this is here, spreading the love of disc golf to more people. But yeah, check it out, talk to us, and you might win some stuff. All right, so 289, and that for a putter, that might be the farthest, but we'll see. So same kind of wide hyzer angle for me. In case you didn't notice, Steve's left-handed, I'm right-handed. It holds that hyzer angle really well and really likes to, it's got a decent amount of, that 2 glide is maybe a little deceiving. I think it might have a little more than that. Because 297 with a putter, even if it's a driving type putter like the P3X, is a pretty good little pop. I mean, my zone, I'm not pulling my zones out for anything over 250. Not that I can't throw them farther, but if I'm throwing that far, I'm going to throw something else. But yeah, so 297 is a pretty solid pull. Pretty solid disc. I'm pretty happy with 297. I was going to move on to the next thing. Okay, now we're good to go.
Well, I am really good at throwing hyzer, as you guys can tell.
Did you see the end of that video?
We did get I did have a nice little 5-hole there, right?
Yeah. That's why that video stayed, because you tried to hit me again. Got real close that time.
I do yell for him, so it's not.
No, you didn't. You turned
come
around.
on. Okay.
Rewind that back. Play that back again.
Or maybe I didn't because I thought it was a bad throw.
Yeah, look at that. You were.
I was still looking. It's we do this because we do these shows because we really like going out and throwing them. Now we can tell you guys about it. It's really the love of the game, man.
And it's not without its dangers when Steve is throwing at
Yes.
you. All right, but yeah, same kind of shot. Hyzer, pretty holds it really well. That's a little flatter.
I wonder how far I could throw it if I just threw it flat.
That's a really good question because 295 is pretty far.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Geez, 300. That's like if I tried to throw anything like faster than my mid-range there, I would basically just be throwing a spike hyzer kind of thing when I'm looking at 300. But to finally have something that I can just rip on and it stays straight for that long of a time. There's a lot of holes here in Omaha where you don't really need to throw 400, but it is just kind of a straight shot. So
yeah.
This is looking like pump it out there and just watch it go to the basket. It's been a really nice throws for being a putter.
Yeah, let's see if we get a little flatter shot out of me here. That's actually a little bit of Annie. So it looks like put it on a little bit of an angle. So out of my hand, it's got some anhyzer to it. Kind of held that and slowly worked out of it the whole way. It didn't fight all the way out of it to hyzer, but it didn't turn over.
No,
Like
not at all.
say the Tremor or the Archer or something like that, or the Vertex we get to in a couple weeks. So I throw it on that angle, it's going right. So it held that straight, fought out of it, and landed flat, which is kind of what you want. It didn't get as much distance that way though. The hyzers are definitely going farther, which is kind of interesting for a disc like
We need
this.
some scientists to help us with that one.
It just likes to be on hyzer. It doesn't want to get forced over. All right, let's see it. I think I have one more backhand, or we're moving on to forehands now. Okay, this one I put the softer backhands in here this time. So that was probably about 70% from Steve.
Yeah.
Pretty flat. So if you're not throwing as hard as either of us do, this might be a flight that you might be looking at.
Yeah, I basically when throwing this disc, I'm able to go ahead and throw it at least 50% power and know it's not just going to completely turn over. But even at a slow speed, it does have a lot of overstability, but it doesn't have it's a 2-speed disc.
It's
so
not like a Justice.
It's
not
no.
going crazy.
It's not just totally dumping out on you.
That's a 3.
You're allowed to work it with that slow speed, just knowing it's not turning over, but it's not just crashing out. So it's got a ton of uses so far. So far, you've already seen.
Go ahead, Evan. All right, so this is where I would see myself using this disc a lot. It's going to be standstill approaches to the basket. And so that's where my zones get used. If I threw harp, that's where those would get used, those kind of shots. The AVRX3 that we'll get to here in a couple of weeks. So my favorite shots to do on my upshots is to take my zones, force them on that ante, and let them curve out of it and crash at the basket. I wanted to do that with these. I wanted to do that with the AVR3s. Neither of them quite do it the way I want. This has a little more stability than the AVR3. You see it come back there at the end. But I want that come back and hyzering at the end. That kind of came back and landed flat.
You want it to skip?
I want to be able to throw it like this
in.
and be able to duck into the basket and not go very far.
Okay.
This kind of took that ante and went and landed flat.
Just not as quite as
So
overstable.
not as overstable as I really wanted it to be. But it still came out, but it didn't hyzer out the way I wanted. So that's thrown pretty flat with just a little bit of ante. Starts to hyzer out there at the end, but I could have given it a little more height, but 215 is about where I want that to go distance-wise. So
this would be like your absolute layup disc, and then your zone would be trying to make it. Is that what you're saying?
Somewhat, but this, I run things with the zone because it's hyzering out.
Yeah.
So it's not going to go past the basket. It crashes and stays within the circle.
All right.
Is the reason I use it. So this isn't quite stable enough to do that.
Standstill flick, that's when I'm throwing a throwing putter usually. I gotta be honest, I'm pretty inconsistent when it comes to just trying to do a nice touchy backhand, and the forehand I'm just kind of going like this and getting it 200 feet is exactly what I'm looking for, because I know I'm regularly not turning my wrist over, causing the disc to just totally die down into the ground. So knowing I can throw this flat, it's not going to work over real hard, and it's going to come back, I felt very comfortable throwing this as a forehand, especially the grip that it has. It's not very deep, just enough that it really just kind of sits on my fingers, and then it's really flat, so it just rests, my thumb just rests right in there. I really liked flicking this disc.
Yeah, for flicks, I don't like the bead on it. For backhands, I didn't really notice it, but it's just right on my fingers. I don't really like the bead for flick putters.
So particular.
That's why I throw a zone and not a harp. So if you're a harp thrower, this is going to be great for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's see what else we got here forehand-wise. Again, Steve coming right at my face.
I love watching you jump away. That was awesome. Little ante, get it to just hold the line, and then actually move quite a bit, and then eventually fade it out.
It kind of fades out back on the same line, so it is coming back there a little bit.
That is an upshot that I could only dream of, honestly. I've thrown the AVR3. I've
And
bagged.
what's it doing on that line?
I bagged the AVR3. Honestly, my AVR3 is a little beat up, so it would have held that line the whole way in with that power. But I still like the AVR3 for flicking, but this one, I really liked the speed and where I was able to really point and shoot with it.
All right, again, this is kind of where I would see myself using it, little standstill sidearm. So I threw that almost flat with a decent amount of pop on it from my standstill position. It did get up and it turned a little bit for me because the flicks have more torque than backhands, they just do. But it did come out at the end pretty solidly. Not as much as my zone would, but pretty solidly. So this is something that I could pop on those flick up shots and trust it to come back. All right, that is all the videos we've got. So this was a Disc Mania P3X if you're just tuning in. It's a new throwing putter from Disc Mania. It's beaded and it's a little concave on the top, which does give it a little extra overstability. Steve, why don't you run the numbers by us again?
Yeah, so we've got a speed of 3, glide of 2, turn of 0, and a fade of 3. So
the two discs we compared it to off the top was the zone and the harp.
yes,
Have you thrown either of those?
yeah,
Or both of those?
I have not bagged the zone, excuse me, but I've thrown yours, Nate, and just this past weekend I threw his while we were throwing the
AVR
the AVR X3, and I was like, oh wow, that's actually really nice. So
compared
Compared
the
to
zone
that-
and the harp compared to this, which one do you think it's more like?
okay, so I would say for me, when I've thrown the harp, which I have, I thought the harp was more overstable than this, but this is more overstable than your like jawbreakers. I'm sorry, the zone was also.
Yeah, okay,
So
this
you're-
is probably close to like a jawbreaker zone. The jawbreaker is a lot straighter than the other zones. For me, this flew a lot like the gold line, sorry, not gold line, tournament harp
Yeah.
that I've thrown, and really similar to fairly similar to the jawbreaker zone, but it's not nearly as overstable as the ESP zones that I'm throwing. Those are a lot closer to the AVR X3. This I feel like flew a lot, stability-wise, fairly similar to the AVR 3s that we threw, but probably a little glidier.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I thought this had a ton of glide, especially compared to the harp and the zone.
Yeah.
I would say that's number one where I was not getting 200 off of a flick that easy
Yeah.
with either of those discs.
I mean, it's got enough overstability that you can throw it hard on your upshots, sidearm and backhand, and it's not going to turn and burn. It's going to be reliable for you. But if you're looking for a zone replacement from Disc Mania, I don't think this is quite it yet. Maybe a harp. If you're looking to replace a harp, this could be solid because it does have that same beaded feel, unlike the AVR X3. But if you're looking for an Innova zone replacement, you might want to either wait on the Rat or look at the AVR X3. But this is a solid approach disc. If you don't want as much stability as a zone, but something a little more overstable than your AVRs or your P2s, this is a great option. Like I said, I see it mostly used as a driving putter or an approach disc.
Oh yeah.
Those kind of things. I think 297 was our farthest backhand with that guy, so that's still a decent ways out there for a putter. So whoever guessed closest to 297, you are winning this pink P3X. We'll go through and figure out that exactly. I wasn't able to get comments up on my device today, so why don't we see if Evan's got any questions or funny comments he wants to read us while we're finishing up here.
How far have you thrown a putter? And what putter?
I don't measure my putter drives very much. Have we thrown anything? What putters have we done? We've done Deputy, AVR 3 AVR 3 Slammer, P3X, Particle. How far do we hit the Particle? We hit 300 with the Particle last week.
I would agree with
I think
that.
we hit like 325 with the Deputy because it's flippy.
Yeah, I remember just pumping the Deputy, and that's why I put it in the bag, because I was like, all right, this is something that I'm going to be able to have some actual results with instead of just, struggling while throwing the putter. So I was really I think the Deputy was definitely my farthest.
I think
And
so.
I'd say over 300 with the putter. I'm super happy with that.
Yeah, I just don't throw putters for that much distance very
No.
often. I'm not looking to throw putters that far. I'm gonna bust out well, I guess a zone is a putter technically, but I probably throw that around 325 if I really have to. But I'm probably at that point I'm looking at a justice or a verdict. I'm just not even. It's a little more consistent, easier to do that. I'd have to try really hard to get a putter that far, and that's when you get mistakes.
How deep is the rim on the P3X?
It's really harpish, I would say. I'm gonna come up here, Evan, and get a little closer look, see if they can't see that a little better. Let me focus in here. So it's not super deep.
There you go.
Steve, why don't you grab me one of those never mind, right here. So this is it next to a P2. If that,
P2's not beaded.
yeah, it's not beaded, but it's just as far as depth. It looks a lot shallower than that does. I don't know if this will help. Haha. So that might give you a little idea. It's pretty shallow. It's not super deep. So if you got small hands, it'll still work great for you. Woohoo! All right. Any other questions we got on the line before we get out of here?
What's the difference between Innova and Disc Mania?
They are really closely related cousins. So Innova molds for Disc Mania, Millennium, and by extension Heiserbomb. Also Infinite now. Infinite makes their own disc, which
I heard about
see how that goes. And they also mold for one other one that I'm forgetting about. But Innova produces all those in their factory. Disc Mania started to make some of their own molds, but several of their molds are, I don't think this is like official, but a lot of their molds are two Innova molds swapped. So like an FD is I think it's a leopard top, a Sidewinder top with a leopard bottom or something like that. And
That's pretty cool.
like the DDX is a turn top with a destroyer bottom, I think, or vice versa. And so
little
like,
Frankensteins.
they work together a lot. Innova used to do all their distributing too, which Disc Mania just took that over themselves, which is super cool because now I can get all the like fancy stuff. Like we have Sky God P2s on the website. Go check those out. Those are gonna go quick, so get yours. But yeah, they're really closely related, but they're not the same company.
When you guys do tournaments, what division do you play in?
I've played an open.
And how has that gone for you, Steve?
Dude, I took second to last my first time, second to last my second time, and then last my third time. So I'm probably gonna go down to.
Yeah, you started playing an open, which was you hadn't learned how to play tournament golf yet.
Yeah,
And
so my first tournaments were actually in advanced. Being able to throw at least 350 on a consistent basis, I was like, well, I don't want to make the intermediate guys sad, but then they could putt, so then.
And there's
that's
a little
what I
difference between our local tournaments in Omaha and big tournaments
Definitely,
in Kansas City as
definitely.
far as quality goes. I've been playing advanced for 6-7 years now, and depending on the day, I can win advanced or I can get bottom of the division in advanced. So
it's
it
anybody's
really
game.
matters. I did have one tournament where I won advanced and I would have tied for the win in open. And I won advanced by like 8 strokes that day. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
Do you guys ever do 360 backhand throws to get more distance?
I don't know how much. I've tried it a couple times. It's more clumsy and awkward than you think it is. And the amount of distance you're gaining versus the control you're losing, I don't think is worth it, especially in a tournament setting.
I've not done it in a tournament setting. I've done it being like, hey guys, check out this Happy Gilmore shot. Because even trying to actually do it properly, I am getting the same distance with that throw as I am just a regular run up, because I have to really focus on where that final release point is. You're shooting up a prayer. Basically,
Yeah, I've got enough things to work on in my game that I don't need to waste time working on a 360 shot.
I would say if I really needed to throw like a crazy Annie, almost like the
Skamahawk.
yeah,
or
the
Sky Roller.
Skamahawk. That might be a time where I'd do that, but It doesn't make a lot of sense,
I'm
guys.
inconsistent enough as it is.
Someone wants to see the dismember discs.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them here.
Do they still have time to sign up?
Yes. Until we have 1,200 discs, so until we hit 1,200 people or midnight on March 1st, you can keep signing up. So these are the Discmember discs. They're in a whole bunch of different colors. I'm not sure what colors we have left, but let's get a closer look here. Oop, that's upside down. So these are plasma traces from Streamline. And Streamline, Axiom, MVP are all the same company. It's just a little division in how they keep some things straight. Streamline is the single mold version, but MVP is the only company that does the trifoil stamping. I don't know if you can quite tell it here, but on these, the basket is black on all the discs, and then the eyes and the teeth are like a prism silver. But then all the accent colors that you may or may not be able to see on these, yeah, you can kind of see the blue purple there. Focus that up just a little bit better. So all the accent colors vary. So there's all sorts of different accent colors on these. And the plasma stuff is super swirly and pearly. So the discs you're getting are pretty unique. So these are pretty sweet discs. It's probably one of my favorites. It's the Shrikes, the Burst Deputies, and these are probably the 3 best discs we've ever done.
I would agree with that, Nate. They feel good, they look good, and from the last time I threw a trace, they bombed. So
Yeah.
I'm totally excited to take mine and
I
just
want to go
start
play
looking.
golf right now.
It was a nice day. Well, it wasn't the worst day, but it's definitely, the sun's shining. Most of the snow's gone from what we
It's
can
above
see.
freezing, so
Yes.
that's better than we've had lately. Anything else we got here, Evan? All right, I'll go through and answer a lot more of your comments and questions later this evening or tomorrow morning, one of the two. Thanks for checking us out. This was This is Great with Steve and Nate, episode 41, the Disc Mania P3X. So we'll be back next week right around 5, and check out Dismember. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, y'all.